This will be Monday, February 23rd, as we continue from there, and people are starting off losing points already. What a fun start. That's my way to commit. And welcome back. We are going to continue with our story from before, with our big battle and the introduction of what's going on, and the kids who are confused. Let's see, it's that. We have the homework entries. We're going to go up there. Make sure you have this put into your notebook. Those of you who are playing the home game, it should be on my website. If not yet, it will be up there soon. Let's see. Where we left off before. To the speedy catch-up version, we have the overthrow of Uranus. And let's go with, what time of day is it that Uranus is to be overthrown? Nighttime, when the sky comes down to give the earth a hug. And who is it that is going to do the overthrowing? Chronos. What does he use to do it?
A sickle.
Nice. That's right. He pulls out a scythe, S-C-Y-T-H-E, and he jumps up and attacks his father, who runs away. He runs behind him doing the choppy, choppy, choppy. Every time he does the choppy, choppy, big chunks of Uranus come flying out and come flying down to the earth. And he chases Uranus until Uranus gets to the edge of the world. And because the world is not shaped like a ball, that's ridiculous. How's it shaped? Giant dinner plate. But before Kronos can do the final attack and kill him, Uranus gives him something. And what does Uranus give him?
A curse.
What does the curse say? One of your children will overthrow you, and their children overthrow them, and so on and so forth. And Kronos goes, ha, don't care. And still attacks his father, who then disappears. Kronos is now the leader of all the gods and the king dude. And let's see, with him being the king dude, the whole point of him overthrowing Uranus was for him to do what? Release, there are no sisters, just brothers. But releasing all of the brothers, the big ugly monsters, and the Cyclops. And what does he do as soon as he becomes king?
Go down there.
The friendliness.
Go down there and? Nicely done. Why does he not release them?
Because they're ugly.
Because they're horrifyingly ugly, and he's like, there is no way I can release those creatures. So he leaves them trapped down there, making who upset?
Mom.
Nicely done. Mother Earth or Gaia upset. He then starts recruiting people to be into his posse to hang out with him. The first one is a dude by the name of Prometheus, and Prometheus has a superpower. What's his superpower? Super smart, and can see into the future. Prometheus has a twin brother named Epimetheus, and what's his superpower? Stupid. Super stupid, which is not a strong superpower that you should wish for. And then we have the third brother that comes in. And who is the third brother? Atlas. And what is Atlas' special power? Nicely done. And he is super strong. And then once the war breaks out between Kronos and his children, then Atlas gets to step up and become the general of the Titan army. But that's not happening yet. So now, Kronos decides that he would like to have a race of small Titans to smash. Who creates this race of small Titans?
Mom.
The smartest Titan that exists.
Prometheus.
Prometheus, and he uses 2 ingredients to create this first race. And what 2 ingredients does he use? Water and dirt, and he mixes them together, which makes mud, and then he makes kind of mud, and he sprinkles a little dust on it. They come to life, and they dance around. So now we have humans, and it's known as the Golden Age of Man, because we don't have women, we don't have winter, and we don't have evil. So because of that, humans are pretty happy, things are going along pretty well. Kronos marries his hot sister Rhea, and they eventually have their first baby. Did we get through all 6 babies with you?
Yeah.
Alright. So we have the first baby is born, and with the first baby being born, he realizes he can't just stab the baby to get rid of it. And why can't he just stab the baby? Because they're immortal and they can't die. So you just have a baby on a stick, which is fun to sit there and spin, but doesn't really solve this problem of not being overthrown. Oh, why does he have to kill his baby in the first place? Oh, Uranus, Kronos, and the curse thing and stuff like that. And he thinks about throwing it into the pit and just going down there and yelling, buckets, and then throwing it down there. But realizes that wouldn't work either because it might eventually escape, and that would be really bad for him. So because of that, he decides to find another way to get rid of the baby, and he comes up with a good trick. And what does he do with the baby?
He eats his baby.
He eats the baby, doesn't chew. That's disgusting. just swallows it whole like a giant pill, globble, and then swallows it down, and the baby's gone, of course. Who is upset by this?
The mother.
The mother, Rhea,
The baby mama.
women.
I know,
Baby mama.
right?
The baby mama. But she eventually has a second baby. And what does he do with the second baby?
Eats
He eats that one again. And then she has a third baby, and he eats fourth baby,
Eats
fifth baby.
Eats it.
Even though he keeps swearing, I'm going to go to BEA. Baby Eaters Anonymous. She's like, I don't believe you. And by the time he's gone through and eaten 5 babies, she realizes things probably aren't going to change. So because of that, she decides that by the time we get to the 6th baby, she is going to try and do her best to get this problem solved. So she goes and talks to her mom. And who is her mom? Mother Earth. She goes and talks to G. Is like, Mom, my husband keeps eating my babies. He's eaten 5 of them so far. And she's like, oh, that's a big issue. She's like, I think I saw that talk show once. She goes, well, what do I do to prevent my husband from eating my babies? She goes, well, the next time that you're pregnant and give birth, instead of letting your husband see the baby, bring the baby to me, and then I will keep it hidden for you. Rita goes, well, this is a good idea, but then the whole problem comes in with me going all blurb, and then me going blurb. He'll probably notice the weight change, and so because of that, what am I going to do? And Mother Earth says, well, what you're going to do is give him a rock. And you give him a rock, and we're going to put a little smiley face on it. You put a diaper on there and stuff like that. And you show that to him, and he'll think that's your baby, and then you'll be safe. And Rhea's like, that'll never work. Mother Earth's like, yeah, he's a guy. And so they go ahead and give it a try. When she gives birth to baby number 6, she names this baby Zeus. And she brings the baby down to Mother Earth. She goes, Mama, here's my baby. And she hands over the baby to Mother Earth. Mother Earth gives her a rock. She takes the rock, puts a little diaper on it, draws a little smiley face on there, draws a little lightning bolt. She's like a little Harry Potter. Gives a little lightning bolt for Zeus, and then takes the baby up to Cronus. Cronus, for the 6th baby, isn't even trying. He's just sitting up there going, sandwich, popcorn, drink, popcorn, baby, popcorn. Oops, I ate your baby. Well, Rhea's like, oh no, you ate my baby. Ah, idiot. And of course, Cronus is like, I ate your baby. Idiot. And so they both think the other one's dumb because he thinks he ate a baby, and she's like, you ate a rock and never even knew the difference. So now she gets to keep her baby. And I think this is about where we got to last week.
Yeah.
Yay. So now Cronus is happy. He's eaten all 6 babies. He knows he's safe. Rhea is happy because she gets to keep a baby down with Mother Earth, and things go well. Baby Zeus grows up. He is raised by a satyr, half man, half goat, named like Philosophus. It's got Phil in there somewhere. And raised by this satyr who helps train him to become this great warrior. Well, one day when Zeus is in the teenager years, he goes and talks to his grandma. He's like, Grandma, I like being an only child and getting to talk to you, but there's some days I wish I had siblings. I think life would be a little bit better. And Grandma decides today is the day that we're going to break the news. And she goes, well, Zeusy Poo, you do have brothers and sisters. He goes, what? I thought I was an only child. She goes, well, you do, but your father ate them. And he goes, what? I have a father? She's like, yeah, you have a father, and you have brothers and sisters, and your father ate all of your brothers and sisters. And Zeus is like, well, that's not right. I'm going to free my brothers and sisters. So he decides that he is going to go up and get his brothers and sisters. Finds out that technically he's a prince, Prince Zeus, because of the fact that his dad is the king of all the gods. And he's like, I'm going to grab a sword, run up to Mount Olympus, and go cha right across the middle of Cronus and free my brothers and sisters. Well, at that point, his girlfriend, who he's talking to, is like, that's not a good idea. He's like, why isn't it a good idea? She goes, well, you don't want to free your brothers by just doing a big chop across the middle of them. Because what might happen to his brothers and sisters?
They might get kidnapped.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to kill them because they're gods, but you don't want to meet your brothers and sisters for the first time. Be like, hi, I'm Zeus. And they're like, yeah, I had an arm and a leg until you freed me. And so because of that, he's like, well, you want to find another way to get them out. He's like, oh, how am I going to get them out? He's like, well, if they're in his stomach and you want them to come out of his stomach, there's other ways to get things out of the stomach. And he's like, oh. He's like, I'm going to go up there and just punch him really hard in the middle of the stomach. He's like, no, you don't want to do that either. He's like, why not? Because why doesn't he want to punch him in the stomach?
Punch him.
Yeah, because the kids on the inside, you're like, punch it, punch it. They're like, blah, 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 blah. He's like, you probably don't want to free him that way either. He's like, well, then how do I do it? She's like, well, give him a potion that'll make him throw up. And he's like, oh, it's not very violent, but sure. So she makes a little potion for him and says, put this in his drink. And when he drinks it, he'll throw up, and that'll free your brothers and sisters. He's like, all right, sounds like a good deal. So he goes and puts himself in a little disguise and goes up to Mount Olympus. Knocks on the door of Mount Olympus. Kronos comes to answer, and he's like, hey, who are you? And he's like, my name is Zeus. He's like, that's a weird name. He's like, yeah, my parents were weird. Because he doesn't want to give the real name of Zeus in case his dad catches on. And Zeus is like, hey, come on in. I'm just watching football. And come on in. My favorite team's on. He's like, who's that? He's like, the Titans. He goes, all right. So he goes in, comes on in, and they sit down, and they're kicking back, and they're watching football together, and Zeus has the magic pukey potion. And he's like, how do I get him to drink the pukey potion? And then it comes to him. He's like, hey, Daddy-O, do you have anything to drink? And he's like, yeah, in the fridge back there, I've got some Mountain Dew. It's my favorite. Mountain Dew.
Oh my God.
And so he's like, all right. So he goes back there to go grab a couple drinks, pops them open, pours them out into like cups like that, some ice, and takes like the magic pukey potion. And he's like, blah, 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 and dumps the whole thing in there. He's like, stirry, 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 stirry. Wake up. And then takes the 2 drinks in, gives one to Kronos. He's like, here's yours. And says the other one. He's like, cheers. And like, glug. The whole time he watches his dad. Glug. Glug. Creepy look. Glug. And Kronos is like, thanks. And drinks the whole thing down. Realizes then that his stomach starts to hurt. And he gets a little gurgle tummy going. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Gurgle, gurgle. He's like, oh, feels like that time I saw the big ugly monsters. And then all of a sudden, Kronos goes and throws up. And out of his mouth comes a rock that bounces across the ground. Wearing a diaper with a smiley face on it. And Kronos has one of those, I don't remember eating that kind of look. And Zeus is like, dude, you have some weird eating habits. And they have that awkward moment that you get when your new friend just throws up a rock wearing a diaper. And you're like, awkward. And then all of a sudden, Kronos' stomach gets a little more giggle, kick, and he pukes up 5 more times. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. And every time he does, out comes a little person. Rah! Out of his mouth, onto the ground in front of them. And he throws up what was a baby, and now is teenage and older, Hades, and then Poseidon, and then Demeter, and then Hera, and then Hestia. And out puke these 5 people. Kronos freaks out, and he's like, tummy goblins! And they hit the ground, and Zeus is like, tummy goblins, unite! And they all start growing up to normal size. And immediately begin attacking Kronos. He's like, tummy goblins attacking! And he starts running around, they're like all like throwing goo at him. Tummy goo, tummy goo! He's like, oh, it's so disgusting. And they go chasing him around, and a huge war breaks out between Zeus and his brothers and sisters, and Kronos and his friends. And so it becomes this big war between Zeus and Kronos. And they all start rallying gods to come out and help them out. Zeus is like, I'm fighting for the rights of babies everywhere, that parents should not eat babies because baby eating is wrong. And some titans come to join him, and Kronos is like, no, parents brought you into this world, parents are allowed to eat babies because they're delicious and taste like chicken. And so he fights for the baby eating. Now, Kronos, even though he is the king, he is not the leader of his army. Because who is the leader of his army?
Ares.
No, it doesn't exist yet. Atlas, the big strong guy. And so Atlas, being all big and strong, becomes the leader of Kronos' army. And a big war continues for thousands upon thousands of years. But the problem is, neither side can win. And why can neither side win?
Neither of them can die.
Yeah, they're immortal. They can't die. So you spend all day stabbing people. Stabby, 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 stabby. And then during the night, they all heal right back. Heal, 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 heal. You're like, oh man, all over again. So it just continues for years and years and years without anything being able to sway it either way. Zeus gets fed up with this. So Zeus goes and talks to his grandmother. And who's his grandmother? Gaia, Mother Earth. And he goes and talks to Grandmammy Gaia. He's like, Grandmammy Gaia, he's like, I'm tired of stabbing people all the time and not having to do anything. Can you help me out? And Grandmammy Gaia does know how to help him. The problem is, she's a grandma. grandmas get a little old, and when grandmothers get old, not everything's working up there. And so the problem with Grandmammy Gia is that when she gives her answer, it comes out in a riddle. And she goes, yes, hon, he who releases the beast trapped within can turn the tide of war. Zeus goes, I have no idea what you're talking about, old lady, because he has no idea what she's referring to. Because what's she referring to?
Babies in the ground,
The babies in the belly of Tartarus, the big ugly monsters and the Cyclops. But he's never heard of Tartarus, or the big ugly monsters, or the Cyclops. He has no idea about any of these things. So he's like, crazy old lady. And so he just goes on fighting the war, upset the fact that nothing was going to happen. At this moment, Prometheus uses his special power. And what is Prometheus' special power?
Smartness.
Seeing in the future. He goes, no. And he sees that now Zeus is going to win the war. Doesn't know how yet, but he can see that Zeus will win. So Prometheus goes and talks to Cronus, who he's helping out. He's like, Cronus, bad news. I did the whole no future thing, and I saw that you're going to lose the war. Cronus is like, man. He's like, what can we do? Prometheus goes, nothing. You are going to lose no matter what. So here's my suggestion. Go apologize to your children. Say, I'm sorry for eating you. My bad. And then maybe if we apologize, we can make things up, and then we'll be able to get along with them. Because if not, bad things happen to everyone on your side. Cronus refuses to back down. He's like, no, baby eating is my right, and I will never apologize for eating a baby, because they're delicious and taste like chicken. And so Prometheus goes, well, that's fine. Crazy, but fine. So I'm going to switch sides because I don't want to be tortured. So Prometheus leaves Cronus to go fight with Zeus. Before he leaves, he goes and tries to take his brothers with him. And who's his twin brother? Epimetheus. What's Epimetheus' problem? Yeah, not real smart. Prometheus is like, hey, Epimetheus, we're on the losing side. Bad things are going to happen. Come fight with me for Zeus. And Epimetheus goes, I like squirrels. And he goes, that's weird. Thank you. He's like, let's come with me and go fight. And he's like, I saw a tree. He's like, not helping things. So Prometheus picks up a stick and goes, look, Epimetheus, a stick. And throws it. And Epimetheus is like, woo, stick! And takes off running after it. So Epimetheus switches sides with him. He then goes and talks to his other brother. Who's his other brother?
Atlas.
But what job does Atlas have?
Strongest.
Yeah, that's his ability. Leader of the army. He's the general of the Titan army. So Prometheus goes, hey, Atlas, bad news, buddy. You're going to lose. Badly. Horrible things are going to happen to you. Come switch sides with us. Atlas goes, I can't. As the general of the army, I cannot abandon my men. He's like, it's an immoral thing to do. Even knowing I'm going to lose, I am staying with my men. And Prometheus is like, man, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear it, but I completely understand. So, see you later. So Prometheus and Epimetheus switch sides, leaving Atlas to fight along with Cronus. Prometheus goes over to Zeus' side, goes up, knocks on the door. He's like, hey, Zeus, my name's Prometheus. The guy over here chewing on a twig is Epimetheus. And we're here to help you out and fight on your side. Zeus is like, thanks, I appreciate it. He's like, what can you do for me? Prometheus is like, I can see into the future, and I'm really smart. Zeus is like, done. What can he do? And he's like, he can run really fast into a wall and not suffer brain damage. Zeus is like, prove it. And he's like, whack. He's like, on my team. And so he takes both Prometheus and Epimetheus over to his team. Well, at this point, they're talking back and forth, like, how are we going to end up winning this? And Zeus goes, well, since you're all like smart and stuff, here's what my grandma told me, but it means nothing to me. He goes, she said, he who released the beast within shall turn the tide of war. He's like, I have no idea what the crazy old lady's talking about. Prometheus goes, she's referring to your great uncles who are trapped in the pit of Tartarus. And Zeus goes, the who, what's, and the where, when? He goes, so he explains to him the fact that there's this great pit underneath the earth that is storing the 3 big ugly monsters and the 3 Cyclops, and that if he releases them, that they'll come fight on his side. He goes, well, why hasn't Cronus done that? And Prometheus goes, because they're a little ugly. He was like, I can handle a little ugly, that's fine. And he takes off running down. He's like, I'm going to win a war. I'm going to win a war. And goes running down the big pit, the big pathway until he gets down to the pit of Tartarus, throws open the gigantic door. He's like, my name is Zeus, and I'm here to, oh God, and he throws up back to him. He's like, you weren't kidding about that horrifyingly ugly thing. He's like, all right, but I really want to win this war. So, okay, I can do it. I can do it. And he steps back over the edge. He's like, hey, oh, nope, can't do it. All right, he covers his eyes like, I'm just going to talk to you covering my eyes the whole time. And so he talks down to the big ugly monsters like, hey, big ugly monsters, how would you like to be free? And they go, blacka, 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 blacka. He's like, I don't know what that means. We're going to assume that's ugly monster for yes, we do. I'm willing to free you, and you will come fight on my side and help me beat the person that has been keeping you trapped the entire time. And they go, blacka, blacka, blacka. He's like, I think that means, yay, we're excited. But here's the problem with it. Looking at you, I throw up. A lot. So here's what we're going to do. After the end of the war, when you've helped me win, I'm going to need you to go to the edge of the planet and hide behind mountains so that we never have to see you again. Will you agree to going to the edge of the world and hiding there? And they go, blacka, blacka, blacka. He's like, I think that means yes. Good deal. He's like, high five. He's like, oh, this is going to take all day. Never mind. And so he's like, all right, so good deal. So he releases the big, ugly monsters who come up to fight with him. And he looks at him and he's like, hey, what else is down there? He's like, what are you guys? Like, we're Cyclops. We're tired of throwing up also. He's like, would you guys like to come up and join us? Like, yeah. He's like, what can you do? Like, we can use our bare hands to make super incredibly sharp, powerful weapons. Just like, score! He's like, come on up. So he invites the Cyclops to come join him. The Cyclops go and make their home in a nearby mountain. And in there they start working on a forge, and they immediately start making weapons to help out Zeus and Hades and Poseidon and Demeter and Hestia and Hera. Now, by the way, if you look up here, Cronus is the dude that did the swallowing. The 6 gods that he swallows are those next 6. That's why I put them in order to help you out. So in case you forget, he swallowed Hades, Poseidon, a rock named Zeus, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia. So I put those 6 right there to try and make life a little bit easier on you. So now, he goes ahead and says, all right, you guys are free, we can start winning. And it begins to turn the tide. Because the big ugly monsters are so big, they can pick up entire mountains and just walk over to a bunch of Kronos' Titans like, hi, how are you? And just smash them. And even though it doesn't kill them, there's something about having a mountain dropped on top of you that takes all the fun out of a day. And so all of a sudden, things start turning in the way for Zeus and his friends. Then the Cyclops step up and say, hey, we're ready to make you some super weapons. And they go, for each of the 3 brothers leading this, we're going to make for you a super weapon. For Zeus, since you are the one that freed us, we're going to make you the most important weapon. And for him, they make lightning bolts. They make him a bucket of lightning bolts. And so they make him a bucket. It was supposed to be like this metal thing next to him, and you could reach into it, and it would supercharge you like electrified boogers. And you'd be like, phew, and you would flip on people like, zip, and they would go and hit him. And it did enough power and damage to even hurt the gods. So it wouldn't kill them, but once again, there's something about getting your finger stuck in a light socket to sort of change your day. They even have a photograph of what the bucket looked like when the Cyclops gave it to him. It's a rare one that I managed to track down. And just like that was the bucket that was passed along to him. It's rubber there because, rubber's the best. And then for the second brother, Poseidon, they make for him a weapon also. What weapon do they make for him? A trident, like a baseball bat with 3 tips to it. And they make the trident, which has the 3 ends to it, which allowed him to cook 3 hot dogs at one time, which is great at all the parties. He could cook 1 hot dog for each Cyclops. They're like, oh, that's why we made it for you. It was a trick. Looks something like that, but it also allowed him to have the control over water and anything, hiccups, in the water. And so Poseidon gets that weapon. Hades, the 3rd brother, wasn't all that much for fighting. So, like, for you, we're going to make a special weapon. And what does Hades get?
A pitchfork.
A pitchfork. No, that's Satan, his brother.
Oh.
Good try. They make for him a helmet of invisibility. that when you put this helmet on, it would turn you invisible. So Hades is the helmet of invisibility. I even have a picture of his too. So that was Hades' weapon. The other chance on that one. Just kidding. If you look up here on Hades, if you look closely, you can't see it. It's invisible. I got you to look. But that was his whole thing, is that he would put the helmet on and then turn invisible. And his favorite thing was table-topping other gods. He would go down on all fours, might walk behind him, and the other gods would push him over, and he just kept like, hee, while running away. So now, with the addition of these three weapons, and the Cyclops giving armor and weapons to everyone, and you have the big, ugly monsters helping out, things start to go the right way for all of Zeus and his friends, and they end up becoming the victors in the war. Tomorrow, we'll get into what happens with them winning the war.